What's up, everybody, and welcome to Live with Kyle and Alex. Today, we have Merlin Award winner Christian Ford with us tonight. Hope you guys enjoy and sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Yes, Christian, I've been wanting to meet you.
Likewise.
Last, sorry we can't be in the same room.
We're
but
social distancing.
that social distance is amazing.
Yes.
I understand you're quite a magician, and I understand you also jumped into my business. I'm an actor for 50 years, and you jumped into my business.
For a little bit.
You did what, Brooklyn 99?
Yeah, I was on Brooklyn Nine-Nine as a guest star. And prior to that, I actually produced TV for quite a while before coming back to the stage. So, yeah, so I was involved in a lot of commercials and national commercials and whatnot. Yeah.
I know that well.
Yeah.
Number of those.
Yeah. Those ones pay the bills. We do everything else for fun.
Absolutely. So what is your choice? Would it be magician or movies and television?
Which my preference, or what would I pick? Is that what you said? Yeah, it's a tough call. I feel like every path always like circles me back to where I'm supposed to be. So I'm constantly like chasing my tail, but you know how that goes when you're multi-talented and you are as well. It's hard to kind of stay in one category because there's a lot of talent that you can bring to the table. So I left magic when I was in like junior high and high school, and I was already doing it professionally, getting paid to do it. Birthday parties and events. And I left it to get into video production as an elective class, fell in love with it. And right out of high school, I got my first job producing commercials in LA. So I was grinding hard. But then all of those resources and things I learned helped, come full circle to the show that I produce now as an entertainer, traveling and touring. So it's been a big plus. I love them both.
One other question. How did you happen to meet Kyle of all people?
Kyle. Kyle's the he's the
question. How did that happen?
He's the networking grinder. He grinds. And I keep telling people behind his back, I'm like, he's one of those guys that some days he's gonna make that one phone call and it's all just gonna click, So and it's funny to say, but it's also true, that if you keep people in your circle that like what you do and they have your back, that they're always looking out, and he's one of those guys that has his eye on the scene. So he hired us. Last year he had called us around early spring to come out to Tucson, and do our show, and we put that together. But we quickly became close friends because he's one of those guys, that you want to be friends with and you want to know beyond work and entertainment. So we buddied up, and I'm trying not to corrupt him too much.
Yeah, guy, but he's corruptible though. He really is. So we got kid gloves kind of thing.
Gotta watch him.
Oh yeah.
So where'd you get your first start in magic? What was your inspiration?
Well, it's funny because I got started when I was like 6, which is everybody's story. So I hate that story that I was 6. I wish I was like 30 and I'm just getting started now because it's already trying to put me in an early grave. No, I got started when I was 6. My first memory was a little Target magic kit of some kind, and learned a few tricks with my parents and my uncle who lived with us until he passed away. So he was in my life for 26 years as well. And then it just grew and grew. Every year for Christmas I'd get a little bit of magic. My grandma would get me a magic kit and hand paint Christian the Magician on the box and the gold handles and her calligraphy and all these real magic tricks were in the box that first Christmas after I started doing magic. And I was like, whoa, this is the real stuff. And we would always come to Vegas because my dad and his brothers used to come gamble and bet the sports and sue, because I couldn't do those things and she wasn't into all that. So we would go to shows, or my dad would meet us later and we'd go to see Lance Burton and, all the magicians here on the Strip. Lance was the one I remember the most because he was the big guy back then. Steve Wyrick, he's a friend now. And those shows inspired me a lot. And then from there, I just built on it and everybody knew I wanted to do it. So my dad put an ad in the Penny Saver in California and started advertising me for kids' birthday parties at 7 years old. I was getting $60 a show. And I swear he was getting $260 and giving me 60, but whatever, He still won't quite admit that.
Yeah. In your magic, do you have a favorite illusion?
I get that question from time to time, and it's hard to pin. For a while, I was doing big illusions. So I had my name on all the road cases and a truck full of crap. We were, trucking around, and And that was fun because it was visual and it was exciting behind the scenes, but none of that stuff really allowed me to connect with the audience. And I found that we were, we had investors and we were building this big touring show, and we did it at a big dinner theater in California, and we started to tour it, but it never quite made money because it was so expensive to produce. And I'd come out of the show and I'd ask people. I remember specifically asking this kid, I have it on video, where I asked him, what was your favorite bit of the show? And he goes, oh, that trick where the $100 bill was signed, it ended up in the lemon and it was so funny, but it was amazing. And I was like, that's an 80-cent lemon. I go, what about that big wheel on stage where the girl goes to the steel plate, right? $15,000 illusion. It takes 5 people to operate it. It's like 2 minutes of the show. It's very short, but it's this massive production. And I thought, that's the thing, and I get to be Copperfield and do all this. And he was like, oh, that's okay. But that lemon, that was amazing. And so to answer your question, I like the stuff where I get to interact with the audience. That's where I started to make money, as I learned that when I can connect with people, I'm funny and I have the ability to interact with people and find beats and milk those moments. And I say things that most people think but aren't willing to say. So I've had CEOs come in and say, okay, the show needs to be PG, and I go, well, look, I play to my audience. So I said, I'll keep it clean, but if somebody takes me somewhere, I'm gonna use it. And one time,
if they take you,
yeah, and like his wife walked up during the show, and I had the strap for my straitjacket hanging between my legs, and she grabbed it kind of in a naughty way, and I played off the visual of that, and we just kind of played it, and it was very funny.
Said, can we do that again?
Yeah. And of all people, it was the CEO that told me that it had to be PG, his wife, and he laughed after, and he goes, what an amazing show. Everybody loved it. And so that's where I find my strength is in working with the audience. And so to answer your question, I don't really care what the material is, as long as I tell everybody. I have a team of friends and family that we bounce creative ideas and talk, and other magicians around the world. And I say the criteria is it needs to pack in a bag that I can take on an airplane. I want to be able to carry it on, not check it. So like I have stuff with knives and nails that are really good, but the one time I ship my bag onto the plane, it gets lost. So I don't do that. So my rule is it's got to check onto the plane. It's got to pack small is what we say, but play big. I want it to play to 1,000 people, but fit in a laptop bag. And it needs to have comedy potential, and it needs to be strong magic. So those are the 4 criteria. Got to pack in the bag, got to play big, and it's got to have comedy potential, and it's got to be strong magic, because I want all of those elements. It needs to be strong, funny, and travel.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, so a specific trick I can't tell you, but I can tell you I like the audience.
What are you doing now during this whole pandemic COVID-19 ordeal?
Growing gray hair. I'm making pounds appear around my waist. No, we are. So what's funny is, for a long time, I was looking at social media and going, I really am not taking advantage of the platforms as much as I should. Like, I would post events and interact with people, fans and friends and whatever. And that was fine, but I had always wanted to do something online as a full-time thing, and, have something that when I'm not on the show, doing the show on the road, that I, can be on the beat, if you will. So we launched, the radio show. As Kyle knows, we launched a radio show a few months ago. And it was really driven at politics, and it got a lot of listeners around the country, and they were calling in, and but I found that there was so much anxiety and angst in putting that show together and dealing with the back and forth. And it was respectful. We got both sides and anybody in the middle. It was a very respectful conversation, but I made a pivot about a month in. People are listening, and I had a ton of people involved, and they're sending me stuff every day, all day, and they're beating down my phone. And I'm just like, Jesus, please stop sending me videos and links and conspiracy theories, It's interesting, but I'm just, this isn't bringing me joy, like, it's a way for me to vent, and it's a therapy session, but it doesn't allow me to do what I really do best. So a couple of weeks ago, we now took this to Facebook Live, as you know, Kyle, and we're doing a Facebook Live show. And I took a pivot away from the politics. We do talk current events and get into the COVID and some of the, irrational things that are going on with toilet paper consumption and, And I have a trick in my show called paper balls over the head, where you may or may not have seen a magician where he like throws the toilet paper balls over the guy's head, and the guy thinks everything's disappearing, but the audience can see what's happening. And I thought, what a funny time to do that trick. People would be just dying, because it would be like wasting water when children need it. You're like throwing toilet paper wherever the guy's head and wasting it. But I think
you can waste the water, but don't waste the toilet paper.
Exactly. Exactly. So, yeah, so we've made the pivot online and we're building a platform though where I want it to be a variety show. Yeah, we'll talk a current event. Sure, a political thing might come up here or there, but I really want it to be like a Rosie O'Donnell meets Ellen DeGeneres meets Jay Leno kind of late night where we're going to bring on various entertainers. We're going to do stuff with food and drink and you know, I love wine, so we're doing stuff with wine, and we're parlaying that into a larger platform called Eat Drink Magic this summer that we're going to launch, which is going to be a really interactive social club, wine and food club online, where people can interact like we are in a back and forth conversation about great food, about great wine. We're going to have sommeliers, executive chefs. We're going to come on, in fact, this Thursday and do kind of a teaser episode where we're going to do a little charcuterie with wine and have people go out and get their stuff and have this like virtual connection through the internet. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're working on
Alex,
that.
it's your style. You should do it.
What?
You should register, Alex.
Wait a minute, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Did you?
You should register.
Register for what?
For sure. I was just gonna say it sounds pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. You'll have to tune in Thursday. We'll get connected on Facebook and you can check it out and see what we're doing.
It works, man. It definitely works.
Yeah, that's a lot.
For sure. I understand. What does it feel like to be? I understand you hit the Musicians Hall of
The Merlin Award.
We got the Merlin. We got the Merlin. the famous Merlin Award. It's here. Yeah.
You know, it almost looks like that Oscar there.
I think that was the idea they were going for. An Oscar with a bunny.
Well, you know what? I've always said to myself, you know, when I'm doing movies, I would always, we all always wanted to get an Oscar.
Sure.
And I have my favorite Oscar acceptance. I've had it for years. And now watch, once I say this, somebody's going to steal my line.
That's how it goes.
I've retired, so they can probably have the line. My line, if I won an Academy Award, which I've always felt this, I said to myself, if I ever got that Oscar, that would be the most exciting thing. And I could never imagine ever being excited to get my hands around a naked man. That is nowhere in my imagination.
Well, mine's clothed. He has a suit on.
Yeah, see, Richard has his hands around a naked man. The only way a naked man could excite me. I'm telling you.
But I always grab it like this, which means I'm grabbing his crotch. So same difference. And you just got to tickle a little, you know. Actually, a cool story about this award. So this was commissioned by like 100 art students back in like the 60s, late 60s, to design and create this in New York. And the same guys that produced the Oscar statues produced this award. So that's why you get similarities, I guess you could say. But,
well, I actually, as a matter of fact, since you did that, I am going to go do that.
Movie star going after something.
I see something.
I'm going to get my hands around a naked man.
Oh, there you go.
This is actually a fake Oscar. It's not real. I wrote this script, which is actually on the wall here behind me. The one, Central Avenue. That's a script that I wrote. It was never produced. It's a murder mystery in 1946. And these friends of mine back in Charlotte, North Carolina, they read the script. Oscar. I couldn't say best screenplay because that's the Academy Awards would shoot me.
Right.
So they had to say best story. Best story.
There you go.
Alexander Folk, 2004. It was made up this film, Central Avenue. But so I did get my hand around a naked man, but it's not the naked man.
Well, come to Vegas and I can get your hands around any naked man you want. I got some places. Under Down Under, Chippendales, what else? Magic Mike. And then there's a few gay clubs called Piranha and whatever.
Absolutely.
So are you from Charlotte originally?
I'm sorry?
Are you from Charlotte originally or just friends?
No, I'm born in Hollywood, right outside of Hollywood, California.
Okay.
I was born in a grocery store on the day they honored the dead. I never got a birth certificate, never found out my first name until I was 16.
Wow.
And that's a whole nother story. But I was born in Los Angeles, graduated from high school in South Central Los Angeles. And about 2 years after high school, I moved 13 miles northwest into Hollywood and stayed in Hollywood for over 50 years and made movies.
Wow, that's awesome. That's the dream.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my, it is I would have paid them to do that.
And did you, so you retired to Tucson then? I call it Tucson, but you retired?
Tucson. Yeah. Tucson. I actually retired and I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
I stayed there for a while. Then I moved to Atlanta because of the film industry was really popping.
Booming. Oh, yeah.
So I stayed there for a while. And with my resume, I still couldn't get any work. So then I moved here to Tucson and been here ever since.
I love it. I love it. I was out there in spring last year. And it's just a great town. Yeah.
So Tucson is extremely hot. When I moved to Tucson, I was a white guy.
Yeah. And now you got some color on you. You got some color over the years.
Welcome to the desert. Welcome to the desert.
I'm still trying to get my Vegas tan. I'm working on it. They got, but then I got the farmer thing going on. So I don't know.
Yes, indeed.
Well, any more questions, Alex?
I'm sorry?
Have any more questions?
I probably have a million of them, but I see.
Well, we're kind of on a short time strain here, but
yeah, it's it is so good talking to Christian, though.
Likewise, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Oh,
I actually have questions for you, so maybe we need to bring you on. We'll bring you on our live show sometime.
There you go.
Food and wine.
I extraordinarily love it.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. Let's
so, real quick before we let you go, what's in store next for you?
Good question. I have no idea.
Oh.
No, hard to say because I'm changing so much now.
Yeah, the landscape is so crazy right now. And I was sort of joking about, well, I think, and Alexander, you'll understand this, when you're in the entertainment business, you tend to dip your fingers in a lot of pots and you become, writer, director, producer, you become an entertainer. I love business. I have a few different businesses that small businesses that I run. And so, I had a couple people in the past few years say to me, very educated, very successful men come to me and go, it's kind of a curse though, because you don't know where to focus that energy sometimes, And so, of course, my ultimate dream is to tour arenas, and that's what we're working towards. But it takes time. Ellen, I always look at Ellen as a great model. She lost her entire career when she came out, and then she was giving up. And a couple of years later, boom, she got the Ellen show, and her life took off, and everything changed. And that was at 40. I think she was 45 when that happened. Wow. And so I'm like, by that standard, I got 14 years to go and counting. Well.
That though,
What was that?
It's gonna happen long before that.
That's the goal. Because otherwise I might die trying. It's a stressful business.
Trying to do something, you might as well die trying to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do what you want to do, you're gonna have to do what you want to do.
And that's what I always say. Go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah. Well. You just got to do what you don't want to do, and that's crazy.
I know people, like my uncle, a really hard worker, busted his ass as a union labor guy for his entire life, 30 plus years, and made his good money, retirement, all that, put money away. And a few years ago, they closed the plant 5-6 years ago. And, and he's been struggling to find something that he really enjoys, and he enjoyed that work. He really did. It wasn't like probably his dream thing, but he was good at it and he enjoyed it. But you spend 30 years working for someone else. I always say this, if you put in 15, 18 hours a day working for someone else or whatever, even 8 hours a day, if you're just working, 9 to 5, you could be putting that many hours in for yourself and still make enough money to get by at least while you're focusing on your dream. And so I remember the only job I ever actually outside of entertainment that I interviewed and got was at an art gallery here in Vegas years ago when I first had made a play to come here. And I needed some cash. And I was like, dang, okay, so I went to this art shop. I had no qualifications to be working at an art shop other than I loved the artist, Michael Godard. I loved his art. And I went into the shop, and this guy was interviewing all kinds of people that sell art. I mean, just really high-end people. This is Vegas, you know. There's a lot of people that specialize in that. And he offered me the job on the spot. You know, I'm like, man, I must really be good at bullshitting. You know? And he goes, "You're a really good interview. You represent yourself well. People are gonna love it." And you know, and I had the stack of papers. I got to the parking lot. It was the first time I was ever looking at a stack of paper, like to sign up for a job, other than like start paperwork on a movie or commercial, which is short-term employment. You know how that is. And so I'm looking at the stack of paperwork, and I called my mom, I called my dad, and they're like, "Oh, you got the job?" I'm like, "Yeah." And you know, I'm my girlfriend. They were like, "You know, but is that what you want?" And I'm like, "Well, I need money. You know, it's like $10 an hour plus commission. It was nothing." And I said, "You know, but if I put in 8 hours a day for him, if I just grinded harder my 8 hours a day, I can do what I want to do." You know, and I continued to do that, and you know, and here we are today. You know, and we're doing corporate jobs and staying busy, and so to answer your question, Kyle, what's next? Like Alexander's saying, we don't know what's going to come next. So we're, you know, I'm looking at building the online platforms that I have, you know, that I love. I'm working on other businesses that I love. I love smoking barbecue. So right now I'm building my chops on that. That's my long-term goal is to retire smoking barbecue, drinking wine and beer on the roadside somewhere with a dog and a, you know, and so, you know, so you just never know what I'm going to be getting into, but I like that, you know, because I can always incorporate.
All around that, you know, it's like about working on these jobs. I actually wrote this book called Going Home, A Guide to Achieving Your Goals While Dealing with Life's Inconvenience. It's only 46 pages, and it talks about how simple God made life.
Right.
But one of the things I'm trying to teach kids, and it's in the book also, is how to find a career, how easy it is to find a career that you love so much.
Yeah.
You want to pay them to do that career.
Yeah.
And my dad was a perfect example of what I'm trying to teach kids to avoid. My dad spent 37 years, 6 months, and 19 days on a job he hated every thousandth of a second of it.
Right.
He was paying the bills, and he got stuck.
It's easy to do.
Yeah.
Easy to take care of the family.
About 98% of the world is stuck in jobs that they hate, but it pays the bills. Yeah. And he's definitely stuck. But one of the things in my book, Go Home, is about how simple it is to find that career.
Yeah.
Because like I said, if you don't do what you love to do, you're going to have to do it. And you may be doing it for 37 years, 6 months, and 19 days. But if you find that career that you love so much, you would pay them. It's not work. You would do it for free.
You don't work a day in your life. You don't work a day in your life.
And they pay you.
Yeah.
And it is so simple to find that career. Life is really simple. We complicate it. One of the things that's in my book, and I'm going to shut my mouth about it. It sounds like I'm promoting my book, which I actually.
No, let's hear it. I love it.
One of the things that's in this book that shows you how simple life is the problems, how we look at problems. If we have something we think is a problem and we can fix it, what's the problem? Right. Cut to the chase and fix it. Don't spend a thousandth of a second screaming and yelling and fighting. Fighting and teeth getting knocked out and going to jail and 20 years over stuff. How many people have died over a simple mistake that could have been fixed? So if you have something you think is a problem and you can fix it, please cut to the chase and fix it.
And most problems are temporary. You know, that's what we always tell people. It's like with suicide and people that are, you know, to contemplate that. We always say, you know, don't make a permanent decision to a temporary problem. And most problems are temporary.
Exactly. And if you have a problem and you can't fix it, what's the problem? You can't fix it anyway.
Yeah.
So why beat yourself head against the wall over something you can't fix?
Yeah.
Like death. People go crazy. You know, I can't fix it. My dog died. Hey, you're going to be along pretty soon. Hopefully not soon, but be along. So don't stress it. And if the problem, there's only one thing you have to do. One. With this problem you think you have, the one thing you have to do is figure out which category it fits in.
Right.
You fit in the I can fix this category, or does it fit in the I can't fix it category?
Which means leave it alone.
Once you figure out the category, act accordingly.
Yeah.
Simple.
It's being able to why can't I ever say this?
Cart before the horse?
No, compartmentalizing. I meant, yeah. Sorry, that's what I was trying to find the word. The way if you can, now I can't say it again. Why am I having that compart? I promise. I know it's 420, but I didn't smoke anything. I know it's 420, but compartmentalizing. That's a great tool.
Absolutely,
you know.
and it's simple.
That's a great.
So one other question, I know I keep saying this, but just before we get you off here,
it's okay.
Where do you think entertainment will die after this whole virus thing? Like, where do you think it would put us, in promoting or entertaining, and after this whole coronavirus thing?
It's a challenging, again, it's hard. I can't put my finger quite on it. That's why I'm watching it. I pulled back my ads. It's sad because I was just getting a new campaign going. I'd spent like $1,000 in my web guy doing new, working out the stuff of the website, and launched it, got ads running, spent about $300 on ads. Like, this was like the week before they shut everything down. And so I've got $1,000 out, and I get a call from a girl, and she wants me to come do this big corporate job here in Vegas. And I'm bidding it. And it was going to be like a quick walk around thing for $1,500. And I'm like, all right, my costs are covered in a little bit. Then she calls me. She's like, we want the full stage show. So now it's turning into almost $4,000, $3,500. I'm like, this is great. Now I've actually made some good money on just my, week and a half, couple weeks worth of work. I was putting all this new stuff together. And then this whole thing happened. Boom, wiped out that, money I spent, plus that job didn't book because of all of this. And so it brings me all to a big point. We don't know where this is going to go, because I keep saying to people, my money is made doing big, high profile corporate jobs. Are they going to put 300 and 400 people in a room, where they can justify to pay me what I'm used to getting? The only time I've ever done they're saying group meetings are gonna have to be 50 people or less. I'm not gonna get my rate doing that, I've done it a couple times where there's 10 people and you get your $3,500, but not very often. They want to justify it. Okay, 300 people, $10 about. All right, well, that works. At least for my, what I do. And so I look at it like that. And so, there's some concern for what it'll be. And then my other big concern is you've got now entertainers coming off of cruise ships who are going to be not gainfully employed like they were, because I think the cruise industry is going to take a massive, massive hit for a long time. Who wants to be stuck on a cruise like those people were with things like this going on, as nice as cruises are? And so now you're going to have a market of cruise ship guys, which they're very different from corporate entertainers. So I'm just speaking to what I understand. So those guys are going to come into the market and undercut us. That guy's going to offer $1,500 because he doesn't have the comedy ability and the corporate timing and knowledge that I have and that energy. But they'll say, oh, well, he's $1,500, he's $35. Let's take this guy. That's what they do. A lot of them don't make informed decisions. So, will it kill it? No. Is it going to be harder and it's already a business? Yes. And that's why I'm looking at every path and avenue I can. I'm fortunate to have, I'm talking with Tracy Whitaker. She's the executive producer of Pawn Stars, and we're trying to kind of develop some ideas, TV stuff. What opportunities do we have? She's working on a lot of pitches. So I'm, talking to different people and just trying to figure out what the landscape's going to look like. They're already saying with Hollywood even that a lot of the networks are looking for remote shootable shows that, don't require a whole crew, that are very quick, can be shot like this with a webcam over the internet, but that are just as entertaining. So there's going to be people, unfortunately, these Instagram celebrities, these influencers that don't have a whole lot of talent, they're really going to have a lot of opportunity because they've already got millions of followers. So now your people that are marketing and spending money on big TV shows or, shows that we want to do like Eat, Drink, Magic, they're going to put all that money into those influencers and go, we don't care if they have talent. They've got 100 million following, people following them. Kylie Jenner, she's talentless and she gets 500,000 likes on a post. So she could post a product right now and it'll make $1 million by tomorrow morning, or more. I told my dad that. We sat there last night talking about it. I go, all she has to do is post a picture of my link for my event, and we won't be able to keep up with the amount of bookings that we would get for that. And so they have the ability to create such massive volume for businesses that it could be a long-term impact because people are seeing what works right now. But that's why I like this Eat Drink Magic platform. So I don't have an answer for you, Kyle, on that question. Entertainment won't die, but the way that it's delivered could change dramatically, and that concerns me because I've got friends. One of my friends, Jeff Savilico, here in Vegas. He's a comedy juggler, had a show at the Paris Casino for years, and Link before that, and very successful. Travels around the world, and he gets $10,000+ for his corporate events. Very, very successful. And he's doing his events over Skype right now. He's still doing college ceremonies and all that. I've got another friend who's a magician, and he does kids' birthday parties, and they're doing kids' birthday parties over the internet. Yeah, which to me is just so one-dimensional because I wouldn't do my whole show online right now if you asked me to, and if you offered me, well, okay. If you offered me a good amount of money, I probably would. But it wouldn't be me and my. The reason I struggle to say I would do it even for $5,000 is that you wouldn't get me being true to who I am, because I feed off that live energy, those people, the laughs, that guy, that jackass making a joke over there, me using that, as fuel. You don't get that here with the internet. We can become friends here, we can laugh together, but you're never going to get that full integrity of a live performance. So. Right. It's hard to say. It's really tough. Yeah. I think there's going to be a lot more of this is going to be our future, but it's just creating content that plays to it.
That's like when you're on stage as an actor, that feedback, immediate feedback right there is just, that's how I became an actor. I was a kid, did a play and got at 12 years old.
Right.
I got a standing ovation for a little kid show. I got a standing ovation from about 30 adults.
Yeah.
12-year-old kid.
And it says this works. Yeah.
I'm gonna act. This is it.
That's what all my friends always, they ask about the stage, and I tell them, I go, I don't get why people get into heroin and these hardcore drugs. Right. I said, because I like wine, I've drank alcohol, and I've puffed the Magic Dragon once or twice for fun, but none of that can touch the high that I get. Not sex, drugs, alcohol, nothing can touch the high that you get when you walk off a stage in front of 300, 1,000 people or more, and you just killed it for an hour. There's no high. And then you come down off that for the coming days or weeks, or maybe you have a bunch of shows that week, whatever, and you get a ride going, and that's great too. But now, I'm living off my last big show. Like I did my award show a month ago, but my last big corporate show of the season is usually at the end of December. So I'm 4 months from more than that. Yeah, about 4 months from my last big corporate show, and I crushed it. So I've still got a little bit of that juice in my veins, but not enough. And so, and with all this crap going on, who knows when my next big show in front of a live audience. So we're always chasing that high. And so it's there's a lot of entertainers that are putting on a face and acting it's going to be hunky dory and trying to, and I'm going, no, I don't, I'm more of a realist. And as much as I want it to be, I don't know that it will be. And we've got to figure out what that landscape's going to look like and how we're going to adapt. But that's what we do best. We're people. So we adapt, we figure it out.
Yeah, this is time we're in now.
What was that? What was that?
Our ear time that we're in now.
Yeah.
You don't know what's up.
The whole lifestyle will change. So
and just the way we interact. Like we stopped at Costco on the way home. We had to go drop my dad had rented a car for a couple of days, and he was doing this job and needed an extra car, and so we went over and we were on the way back, and I was gonna stop at Costco and get a brisket I was gonna smoke on Wednesday, and the Costco's like 80 people deep in the line. I'm going, God, guys, come on, like when's this gonna end? Right? And my dad goes, but what if that's the new normal? What if people they only allow so many people into the grocery stores at a time? And, at least even for the next year and a half, couple of years until they work this all out. I mean, that could be a new situation where you're going to wait in line to go to a grocery store. I mean, so if you look at those things alone, I mean, you can't tell me you're going to pack a bunch of people into an arena for a concert or an award show or, even my show, 300 or 1,000 people. That's nothing compared to some of these other events or sports. They're talking about Vegas. They're saying, okay, well, what if we open the hotels on May 1st, but no attractions or anything until the summer? And then somebody asked, well, what about the nightclubs and the pool parties, which are a cesspool because you've got people all lip locking and going home together and all the craziness. I mean, this stuff would spread like wildfire. So there's talk. They'd mentioned, and this was a guy that's on the COVID-19 team with Vegas. So just speaking to your question about where's entertainment going to go, they were hinting at maybe not having the nightclubs even open this summer, which is insane. And those bring a lot of gambling and spend to Vegas.
It looks like I was scheduled to go do a movie in Dubai in a couple of months. well, whenever it happens, but it looks like it was happening. They said they had the money, and I was scheduled to do a movie in Dubai.
Right.
How do you shoot a film now?
Yeah.
Maybe 100, 200 people on the set, and extras, and love scenes, and people talking across the table and lip locking and stuff. Yeah. How do you film a movie now?
Well, yeah, and that's what Tracy. I had a great interview with her. We're gonna bring her on again too shortly, and with our live show now, because this was our radio interview. And she's an EP of Pawn Stars, an Emmy winner, and all that. She's done it all, and she goes, the landscape is going to change dramatically. She thinks a lot of these movies will be shot locally. They'll be shot smaller scale. They won't be big travel movies anymore, because they'll just find, with all the special effects and the technology today, they'll shoot the stuff back a lot as quick and tight as they can in LA and Atlanta and some of the other big film states, and they won't travel these things, because even Pawn Stars, which is that's a reality show, so what's the crew on that? Less than 50, 20 people at a time. They're trying to figure out how to shoot that with a tighter crew. So if they're trying to figure out that because they're concerned, think about these movies. They're not going to be getting Pirates of the Caribbean with a 500-person crew anymore. It's
maybe computerized. I know years ago, even 20-some years ago, in the movie business, there was a rumor that us actors were going to be obsolete because they were going to create them in the computer.
And they're doing it now.
Yes,
they are.
It may be a computer thing.
And I like some of that, but for the most part, then when I was still doing the stuff, commercials even, I always hated the CGI. I like to shoot real. If we can't shoot it real, we shouldn't do it. We were still doing stuff with airbags and guys falling off buildings into airbags and crap, and we were having to cheat the permit, and the fire department's pulling up to do their spot check, and they're like, why do you guys have an airbag out? I'm like, oh, because we got a big light up there, and if it falls, and we didn't want to pay for all the stunt guys, so we got these guys zip lining off a building, and we're like cheating the permit, and that was the fun days, and now all that's they can do that with 2 minutes. Kyle can do it with his iPad now, on his left pinky. So.
I remember those airbag stunt days. I never did high falls and everything, but those were the days, man. Yeah. The airbags, and I did stunts and stunt fights and stunt driving and stuff. I did stunts, and then acting started happening. Then I did acting, but those airbags, those were the days. Man.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you something. Do you remember a catering company named Michelson's Catering? Michelson's Catering they did all of the big movies.
Right.
And they disappeared. I wonder if Michelson's Catering was still around. Off the cuff question.
I feel like I see the logo, but it's been probably 8-9 years since I've been on a big, running a big set, other than Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where I was on the other side of the camera with it. And we dealt with when we were on Idol and all that stuff, it was Hollywood caterers that you probably had them. And then we had a bunch of independent stuff. When I was doing Hallmark, we were doing Hallmark movies, a lot of Hallmark stuff, direct to TV. And a lot of those were more independents. And then, the commercial stuff, we were quick stuff in and out. And I was we did a lot of cross promotions. So we'd have skeleton crews and little gorilla crews a lot of the time. And so, we were just catering out from restaurants and having PAs pick it up. So we did a lot of that. So yeah, I didn't deal with a lot of the caterers.
What did you do with Idol?
I worked on the post-game show called Idol Extra. So we shot the contestants as they were being eliminated from the show. Same backlot, same team, same payroll and everything. We were on the team, but we didn't actually have to work the main show, which is a massive nightmare anyway. So I liked our little bungalow. And the cool thing about it was that Dick Clark's daughter, Cindy Clark, was the executive producer of that show, and we became best of friends working in that little bungalow together. So, and Simon Cowell parked his car, his Bugatti, right next to our bungalow right down the lot, and so that was fun. And then my buddies, would get me on So You Think You Can Dance to help them with the playing and different things. So I got to run around with a handful of those shows. Did The Bachelor for one day. They wanted me back. I said no, never again. It's an awful show to work on. But I don't know how anyone falls in love. And I know how anyone can fall in love in 3 months traveling to all the locations they travel to and the luxury they travel in. But then when they're back in their Cracker Box apartment and life is real and you're just looking at a pretty face, it's not so exciting anymore. So I don't.
Well,
watch it for the drama. But
Christian, I appreciate your time with us today.
Thanks, guys. It was fun. And
no, I extraordinarily appreciate your time.
Likewise, and it was nice to finally meet you. I was gonna say Alex told me a lot about you. Kyle told me a lot about you. So
appreciate it. Totally my pleasure, man. Totally.
Yeah, we gotta get you out of Tucson, do a show now, and kind of rock it out in the city.
Yeah, when they let us all together again, I feel like we're all on house arrest. You should see my ankle bracelet. It's
amazing.
Yeah, let's get Kyle, get us connected on Facebook, so we can be friends, and then we'll do a show together. I'll bring you on maybe next week or something if you're around, and we'll have some fun.
Yeah. All right.
Love it. Yeah. So guys, tune in to Live with Kyle now. Well, sorry. Go ahead, Alex.